Good morning. Other than good morning in this sentence, the only words that I've uttered so far today have been God damn it. I said God damn it once. Ugh. Now thrice. Yeah. God damn it, God damn it. Now it's 5. Still dumping ass rain. Still colder than a witch's tit here. Early? I mean, I guess so. I started this shit 3 minutes ago, and YouTube has still yet to send out the major batch of notifications. Look at it. Just hovering there. Hello and what it do? You just got done watching Flash Ride. Cool. Cool. Real cool. I just woke up. Yeah, me too. Well, not just, I guess. I fucking had a time to hop in the shower, knock the crust out of my eyes, wash my hair, all that shit. Notice that I have a pimple and squeeze that. You see that shit? Here comes adolescence roaring back into my life. Right there. I was like rinsing off my face and I felt it. I was like, what the fuck is... Ow. What the fuck is this? Fucking rogue pimple. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All of you just kind of slowly but surely trickling in. Oh, I know. The notifications somehow get staggered. It's gonna be a long train, I think. It's double stacked. You know, it's got the truck trailers on the back of it. They're double stacked. That's gotta be a heavy ass train right there. Nihilistic rants because adolescence relapse. Is that me? Is that your assessment of what's happening with me? Adolescence is having a relapse in my life. Whew. It's cold. Very cold. It's $100 for a quarter of medical in Pennsylvania. $100 a quarter? I mean, that seems a little steep. Well, I mean, I don't know. $100 a quarter, that's not too bad, I guess. Well, it's a little steep. Let's put it that way. 23% THC. And that's pretty standard, but I don't know, dude. Happened to your stonks, dude? You really thought that, like, the rich and powerful in this country were gonna let you keep fucking raiding it? You think they were gonna let you join their ranks? Mm-mm. Them stonks is froze. No more stonks for you. Hey, Paul. I know you running from something. I'm running from something? I hope it's not very fast because it's going to catch up real quick. I'm not exactly moving. It follows, yeah. Fuck, man. Don't freak me out like that. I don't need that shit in my life. I don't need that it follows paranoia in my life. $100 if you know the right people. I mean, that it just depends. Depends on your market. Like, I don't know. I really don't know what's good prices in every fucking place in the world. So yeah, I mean, good for you. How's Dinor today? He's fine. He's sleeping still. Did not want to get up with me, which is cool. He's curled up like a little croissant on the bed. He looked up very sleepily when I left, and I was like, he was like, plopped his head back down. So I was like, all right, he's still sleepy. Fuck Robin Hood. I mean, you got in when you could, man, but you got to understand, bro. Like, you got to understand that there was no way the rich people were going to let you hack their little money-making scheme. They do this shit every fucking day, but it's the fact that a group of normal-ass fucking plebs tried to do it that caused all the Hufflepuff. I mean, it was just never going to happen, man. The damage was done. These companies will get their fucking bailout, and you won't be able to trade stocks in the way that you did before. So that they can keep playing in the casino that always pays off. Robinhood's servers are undergoing maintenance. What a strange time for their servers to undergo maintenance. Right when the the market just opened. Let's take down our servers for maintenance. Let's not do it last night. Let's do it when the market opens. Huh? Tastes like rigatoni, yeah. AOC and Ted Cruz even agree it's bullshit. Of course it's bullshit. Marvin was going to win anyway, dude. Like, anybody that actually thought that a giant old fucking hedge fund was going to be allowed to sink along with a bunch of other ones is wrong. You're just going to pay for it out of your taxes. They're going to get a nice little bailout to float them whatever damage was done so they can dig themselves out of the hole. And then the rules are going to change about how and when and where you can buy and talk about stocks, and that'll be it. There's no way they were going to let this fucking happen for days and days on end. Are you kidding me? Yep. They make the rules. They designed the game, and the referees are all on their side. My friend's brother put $15K into GameStop at 3:30. That's gonna sting. Yeah, that's really gonna sting. I mean, you had to fucking think. You had to know that they weren't gonna let you keep doing this. Even though, according to the rules that they set up, there's nothing wrong with what was happening. You had to know that because it took money out of their pockets, that you were not going to be allowed to keep doing it. And today is the day that it ends. Withdrew my Nokia money and put it into Disney, made some of it back, yeah. Bought a stock in AMC, I'll probably lose a couple bucks, but oh well, that's the game. Yeah, I mean, as long as you didn't put a bunch of fucking money in, you were just kind of playing around, having fun, you're probably fine, but people that ran up a bunch of money and then laid all that money down again to run up a bunch more, they're going to lose all that money. And, it's the way it goes. That's just the way it is. We're all the wolves of Wall Street now, yeah. I guess so. Man, it really would be fine out here if it wasn't for this wind. This wind has got me fucked up. Cold. Gambling's illegal in a lot of states. Yeah. Unless it's stock market gambling. And then if you win, it's illegal. Unless you're a big hedge fund or a big trading company or a big bank. Then the slot machine always pays off. It's the way it works, right? Yeah. You reach a certain income level and the laws are more like guidelines than actual rules, matey. Why do you have a dad mug? It's from my animals. It says, no matter what life throws your way, at least you don't have ugly children. Love your favorites. And then there's a picture of me sitting with Cricket. Do you love me? Are you against having kids? No, I really don't care. I mean, I'm against people doing it stupidly and without any caution or plan, but there's no way to stop that. So no, I'm really not against people having kids. That's a philosophical stance that I don't think it's worth your fucking time and energy to take. People are gonna fuck. Like, that's rule number one of the universe. Like, unchangeable constant number one. People gonna fuck. And as long as that's the case, then there will be kids. I'm absolutely livid with what's going on in the market. How can they just change the rules? Don't want to use the words radicalized, but I'm effing angry. Would you? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you expected. I was talking about this last night. About how, like, there's no way this is going to be allowed to continue, how the rules will be changed, and how these companies will be bailed out. And it's all going to happen just that way because the average person actually got the chance to make a little scratch in the casino, and we can't have that happening because money is power. Like, like, hypothetically, if you were to take your 10 grand that you had and lay it all on Nokia, and that turns into 30 grand, and then next week there's some other short stock that everybody wants to fucking pump, and you do it. Then you take your 30 grand and you turn that into 150 grand, and then you take your 150 grand and turn it into a couple million, then you take your couple million and you turn it into a couple 100 million. You know what I mean? And that's the scariest fucking prospect for them, is that there's an actual path for you to do what they're doing, to take a slice of the money that ought by rights be on their plate and put it on yours. And then you've got a seat at the table because you've got scratch. Can't let that happen. That can't happen. That was never going to happen. And that's it, The only real hard and fast rule on Wall Street is that the rich are allowed to play it and the poor are allowed to get fucked by it. That's the unchangeable fucking rule. That's the only thing carved into the Wall Street stone tablet, is that the rich are allowed to manipulate the markets, but the average person is not. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's another example of how playing by their rules is never going to work. It's why I'm not an incrementalist. It's why I'm not a person that espouses the efficacy of electoralism. Because it is yet another example of a game that you're playing that is rigged by the opposition. Game is rigged against you. You can try and fucking hack the game one way or the other. I see Bernie as an attempt to hack the game the last 2 election cycles, and you see what happened to him. Scuttled twice. You're not allowed within the system to rise up and take a little bit of power for yourself as a person. You're not allowed. That's why it has to work from without the system. That's why the change has to come from without the system, because the game is rigged against you. Everybody that's celebrating about all the executive orders that Biden has signed, undoing a bunch of quote-unquote destructive executive orders from the Trump administration, all of that shit is temporary. As soon as the next Republican sits down, one of their first acts in office will be to reinstate a lot of that shit. Like, you don't seem to understand the game that's afoot here. But at least learn something from this stock market thing. Because if you think it's separate from what I've been talking about when it comes to electoralism, it isn't. Wake up and smell the coffee. The game is rigged against you. You're an average person, and average people don't get to go together and pool their votes together and change the world. They don't get together and pool their money together and change the world and change the paradigm and change the way that markets work. They don't get to do that. You're not allowed. That's why change has to come from without the system. That's how it's that's why it's incumbent on leftists to stop making excuses for the status quo and to start operating outside of it. Start talking about a people's movement, a labor movement that doesn't rely on the blessing of the fucking very system that's keeping you under its boot. That's how you get your power. Labor movement, general strike, throw yourself on the wheels of the fucking tanks. That's it. Make the stink go so high and go so far that they can't fucking get away from the smell. That's the only way. That's it. The treads of the tank. I'm sorry there, Captain Correcto. Throw yourself under the treads of the tank. Actually, tank treads do have wheels that drive the treads. What do you think about that shit? What do you think drives the treads on a tank? Wouldn't be wheels, would it? That's it, man. And I'm hoping people learn that fucking lesson. I'm hoping that people see the connection between this and electoralism. If you come up with a way as a group of normal American citizens to quote unquote hack the system, it will be taken from you. Greetings, comrade. We must destroy the game and make our own. Have some rupees, and if you write the manifesto, I'll buy. Thank you. So sick of the lefties that excuse the status quo. All my friends on Facebook and my personal life do, and it's gross. I 100% agree with you. They shut down GME trading because they didn't want to give average people the glimmer of hope that they could actually change the system to benefit them or benefit from the system. I mean, does that not prove to you that the system was not designed for your benefit? It's designed for your exploitation. It was designed for the opposite of your benefit. It was designed to exploit your time and your labor and turn it into billions of dollars of capital that get hoarded by an ever smaller group of families in this country and worldwide. That's what it's designed for. Electoralism is designed for the same thing. And your participation in it is tacit acceptance of that continued paradigm, if you're a leftist. You try and hack the system, Bernie Sanders, stuffed. Nope. Hillary Clinton. Try and hack the system again, Bernie Sanders, stuffed. Nope. Joe Biden. Try and hack the system by fucking busting up the short trading game that's going on, that's making billions and billions of dollars for hedge fund managers and bankers and shit. Wrong. Rules are changed. You can't do that no more. Yoink, 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 yoink. You get it now? Some of you don't. Some of you won't. There are a ton of people that are going to walk away from this and not learn the lesson. Well, we tried, whatever. No. You don't have power. You don't have power in the markets. You don't have power in the labor marketplace. You don't have power, period, unless you've got money. You don't got it. You want access to that money? You want your piece of the pie? You're going to have to take it through a labor movement. Take it. You're not going to get to sit at the craps table with the big players and roll the dice and bust them out. You take it. You hold them hostage with your labor. Not a factory will run. Not a store will open its fucking doors until our demands are met. Not a dollar will be made. Go ahead and trade a company that has factories that are sitting fucking empty right now. Go ahead and trade on a company where people are fucking fighting cops and scabs and shit on the line out in front of your fucking company and see what happens. That's how we get them by the balls. That's the only fucking thing that we've got, is that there's more of us than there are them. That's it. That's what it comes down to. Ape together strong. That's it. Hate to oversimplify, but that's it. That's it. What if we had a strike like the one in India a month ago? The one in India, it was unprecedented as far as an American strike. If we had a strike like that here, backed with a national organization that would fund that strike and keep those strikers fucking refreshed, change the goddamn planet. This might sound like overly hopeful, overly optimistic nonsense, but a mass labor movement in this country would change this fucking planet, would change the face of it. Forever. That's the power. That's where the power is. The power is not in the easy road. The power is not on the sit in your fucking ass and vote once or twice every fucking cycle mode. That's the road to continued capitulation to the powers that be. That's the road that continues to allow the stock market to be a game that you're locked out of. That's the road that continues to allow Medicare for all to be an impossibility in the richest country in the world, when somehow every other goddamn fucking country's figured it out, has the money to do it, and still has billionaires in it. You see? You starting to get it now? Or no? I'm hoping so, man. I'm really hoping so. Because I don't know how to fucking... I'm running out of ways to fucking put it to you guys. Yeah, well, I tell you what, Peyton. Be depressed for a second and then go out and fucking use your voice. Because we ain't got time for you to sit around and be depressed about it. I'm not trying to be mean, but depression don't do shit. Take your indignation for this and learn from it and walk forward as a new person and a new leftist and start advocating for things that you haven't advocated for before. Let this idea radicalize you a little bit. Let this idea push you away from the idea of constant capitulation and participation in a broken, rigged system. Time to be leftists, folks. Time to grab onto that spirit of rebellion. That's all there is to it. Time to start advocating for things outside the system. Time to start building organizations of actual people outside the system and using those organizations to get what we want. And that's it. A mass minimalist movement, I wouldn't hold on to that. I think you're right. I think the idea of a mass like minimalism boycott movement where people stopped fucking going out, stopped buying things, only bought the things that they needed, and did so in order to strangle this country, or at the very least strangle the capitalist interests that control it. I think that could be a tool. That could be part of the tool that we could use. But the markets are international now. So many of the things that we as Americans labor and make are shipped overseas, and vice versa, shipped from overseas. I love the same people that say, how are we going to pay for it with Medicare for all, support increases to the already insane military budget? Yeah. How do you reconcile your vision of collective action like that with the actuality of what people are like and the kinds of values and concerns that most people have? Look, it is incumbent upon the leaders of any new labor movement to address those problems. Those sound like unaddressable problems because you as a person are powerless to do that, but an organization can do that. An organization can do that. An organization can send the right kind of people that speak the right kind of vernacular to the right kind of places and start changing hearts and minds. That needs to be happening now. That needed to be happening about a decade and a half ago. There needs to be a strong, vigorous, pernicious fucking labor movement in this goddamn country. Just a nattering labor movement that is constantly growing and constantly pushing. Do, 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 do. That's going to be better. Brrr. My point is, it's not bad enough for people to actually rise up. I mean, most people live shitty, mundane lives, but it's not bad enough for everybody to drop everything just yet. I mean, I don't even really think people need to drop everything. They just need to marshal their time. They need to be shown a way that they can continue to do what is needed to keep their lives going and still fight. And that's the labor movement. You take your time at work, right, and you turn it from a time where you're just being exploited for your hourly wage to a time where you are at least partially planning for your own future and investing yourself and your opinion into your own compensation package and how you're treated. I don't know if you talked about this before, Paul, but can you explain what about Jimmy Dore appeals to you? I'll answer that in a minute, maybe. How do you have a democracy without an electoral system? Do you want electoral reform or the abolition of elections? I don't want the abolition of elections. I just want a leftist movement that doesn't rely on electoralism as its main weapon. Let electoralism continue. Let the system continue to fucking do what it does. And let's start operating as leftists outside of that to build something new. That's what I advocate for. I'm not for the abolition of elections or whatever the fuck. Let them keep doing it. What the Redditors did was the best collective action I've ever seen in this country. I honestly hope we do something like this again, please. Well, something like that again won't be possible. The rules will be changed to oppose something like that ever happening again. So you'll have to find another angle. But yes, it was, at the very least, a direct action that got, it shook the sleeping giant. You know what I mean? You had big Wall Street billionaires and the entire fucking collaborative news media, the whole corporate news media clucking like a bunch of fucking concerned hens with a fox sniffing around the hen house. Just like the left does when Jimmy Dore speaks. Unfortunately, when they cluck, shit gets done. When the billionaires in this country start going, the regulatory agencies step in, the NASDAQ steps in, stops trading. So as far as the Jimmy Dore question from earlier, I'm not the hugest fan of Jimmy Dore. I like his takes on things. I like the way that he makes the left uncomfortable. And I like the way that he's uncompromising in his positions, whether I agree with them or not. I think we need more leftists that are brash and vocal like him. And I like the fact that his message doesn't include nothing but, hey, let's just keep doing what our forefathers did and that'll change it. Because that's the message of incrementalism. The message of incrementalism is, hey, what we've been doing, that's been working. Never mind the corpses of all the fucking people dead from preventable illness. Never mind the corpses of all the people that work themselves to death with no protections. Never mind the corpses of all the people that worked their entire lives and never got out of the hand-to-mouth cycle. It's working, guys. You keep doing it. Uncompromising in demanding an M4A vote and supporting a candidate who didn't even want M4A. I mean, I don't care. You see, you understand, like, the minutia of Jimmy Dore's position doesn't matter to me. Like, I really don't care. I don't listen to enough of Jimmy Dore to understand the minutia of every one of his positions. What I care about is the fact that he's stirring up the left. That's what I like. I like that, Holmes. Because this left has become a big, fat, lazy bunch of nothing that sits back and watches itself get fucked up the ass and makes excuses for why that's okay. Well, you know, it's okay we took one in the fucking keister on this one because, hey, it would have been worse. Think about this, the Republican dick would have been bigger. Oh, okay. So that's what winning looks like now? Gotcha. How do I lock into this fucking endless cycle of torture and failure? When Paul says the left, he's specifically referring to Vosh. No. When I say the left, you specifically think about nothing but Vosh, you empty-headed fuck. Now dunk yourself up out of here. Pull yourself out of, pull your fucking head out of the bucket of ice water that it's been submerged in and take a breath. Dipshit. Got Vosh on the fucking brain, man. Just because I mentioned the name, I don't want to see Vosh spammed all up in my chat. Unless he's got something to say about this other than, stay the course. I don't want to hear it. Vosh got some fucking new idea I need to hear? Put that in the chat. If it's just the same old, like, riding with Biden fucking mantra, fuck that shit. I'm done listening to it. I unfollowed the guy for a reason. Tired of watching fucking leftists spin their wheels in the mud. We're getting somewhere now, guys. Sick of it. Sick of it all, man. Sick of weak, capitulating leftists. Sick of leftism dressed up in a fucking corporatist suit. Sick of status quo fucking leftists. Sick of this do-nothing fucking country. Where it seems like people are just good at bitching about what's happening to them. And that's about it. Sick of it all, man. Done with it all. Paul moves to Africa, yeah. Isn't there some merit to being tactical and calculating? Not if at the end of all your tactical calculating, you arrive at the same position that you started at. If all of your tactical calculating ends right back at, let's vote for the status quo center-right leftist politician. Center-right fucking Democrat. Let's vote for that. Like if all of the endless calculation and talking and reading of theory arrives back right at the fucking answer that the system wants you to arrive at, then you've got a flawed system of fucking thinking, in my opinion. You've arrived right back where you started. You know what, guys? Shit ain't working. We as leftists need to stand up. Let's read some fucking Marx. Let's read some fucking Communist Manifesto here. Let's read some Das Kapital and get real deep into this. All right, well, we've read all that shit. We all agree here that nothing's working, so vote for Biden. Huh? Jimmy Dore is advocating for a general strike. Well, I hope that Jimmy Dore, I've heard him advocate for such before, but I've yet to hear him advocate for a new national labor movement and the need to fully establish that prior to a general strike. That is incredibly, incredibly important. A general strike where everybody walks off the job for a couple of days does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing. I need to explain a principle of labor to you. I walked a line when I was fucking a younger kid for a group of Vegas concession, kitchen, and hotel like maintenance workers. That strike went on for years, guys. Years. Funded by the National Labor Movement. Those people were able to walk out on their job and stand in front of that place and shut that fucking casino down for years and years and years until they got the fucking concession. Not 2 days, not a week. And you know what that required? Money, solidarity. That required union dues being paid all over the country, being partially funneled to support those people standing the line on that strike and other strikes going on. That's what we need. We do a general strike where everybody walks out for a couple of days. It does nothing. It does nothing but weaken people's resolve to ever do it again. Because people will be fired. People will be replaced. And then they'll go like, what did I do that for? To lose my job? To put myself in a worse position? No. You don't strike until you've got the backing to strike. And to get the backing to strike, you have to put your fucking political capital into the basket of new national labor movement by removing it out of the basket of continued capitulation to the status quo. You don't do that, it's never going to happen. So you can talk about the efficacy of a general strike. You can like how Jimmy Dore talks about a general strike. I heard TJ in his I Hate Jimmy Dore video or whatever talking about like, I agree with Jimmy Dore. I like his talk about a general strike. Well, you need to start pushing for the establishment of a national labor movement then. Because it's never going to happen through electoralism, and it's never going to happen with workers sitting on their hands, and it's never going to happen if we don't fucking try. I can't start it. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have the reach. I can advocate for it. I can make it a central part of my political philosophy, and I can talk about it whenever it comes up. But as far as establishing this fucking thing, I don't got $1 million. I don't have the connections. That's why we need leftists that are bigger and bigger and have larger audiences to stop this fucking electoralism shit and to join the people. Thoughts on scabs? That's exactly what's going to happen if we do a fucking general strike without the ability to support people on the line. Immediately, those people will be terminated and scabs will be brought into the factory to run it. And if there's not enough people to stop those scabs entering the factory, then they will enter the factory. And then guess what? Now you're standing out in the cold in front of a factory with no job, no support, and somebody else is in there pulling your fucking lever. That's why you don't just advocate for a general strike. I'm fine with advocating for a general strike, but you need to support said general strike with a national labor movement that is funded so that these people aren't starved off the line and immediately replaced. That's it. That's where your goddamn focus should be as a leftist if you want my opinion on it. You don't want my opinion on it, then trash it. Throw it over your shoulder and keep voting for your fucking oppressor. Keep making excuses like we have for years about why now is not the time. Why this capitulation to the status quo, this capitulation to the corporate elite is something that this leftist had to do. I mean, what do you want him to do? Fight? What do you want him to do? Obstruct? Yes. What do you want him to do? Lose? If that's what it takes, yes. Nice gloves, OJ. Whatever, bro. Awake, fuzzy face. Fuzzy, wuzzy face. What do you think? You gotta go potty? Go have yourself a quick potty. I know it's raining, it sucks. What are you gonna do though? So tired of the left say we can't work with the right because they're all racist. That's not true. I live in the South and know lots of working class righties who just want accountability. I mean, I don't really want to get too deep into that, but I have to tell you that people that are on the right that are living hand to mouth are suffering from the same oppression and same backward system that lefties that are living hand to mouth or underemployed or unemployed are living in. And so the fact that they have different political leanings does not insulate them from the problems that we all face, and that's our end. That's the little crack in the door that we have to be smart about and try and work open with these people, and that involves training and sending in special fucking agents of the union, having people infiltrate. I can never remember. I think it's Jake. Union Jake is the name of this, but I may be wrong about that. There's a term for somebody who goes to work at a factory, but they're not actually going to work at that factory to get the job. They're actually paid by a union to be an agitator within that factory. Union Jack. That might... No, the Union Jack is like a flag. There's a name for it, and I just can't remember the union term for it. But that's basically what it is. It's an infiltrator, a double agent. A person who is paid a stipend by the union to go get a job at a factory, infiltrate that factory, find whoever is in the kind of de facto leadership position amongst the workers in that factory, and depose that person and or turn that person into an acolyte of unionization. Slowly but surely spread in the vernacular of the people that work in that factory the ideas of collective bargaining and a workers' movement without invoking stop words like Marx, Lenin, Engels, Das Kapital, communism, or socialism. That's how it's done. Just got here. That sounds like a bad cough. You okay? I'm a smoker, and I'm vaping extraordinarily high THC content weed cartridge out here, so that would be the cough. I'm fine. Nothing you can do. That's a spicy meatball. It's gonna make you cough. You gotta cough to get off, you know, old stoner saying. What do you think about unions for more professional type jobs as well as blue collar jobs? I'm a chemist. I think that blue collar jobs worked by average people should unionize as well. But I think white collar jobs as well. But I think that it has to start with the blue collar. A little bit, yeah. We talked about Robin Hood. You could go rewind the stream. It's a good talk. We talked about Robin Hood, and it was a jumping off point for a nice little rant from me. So you can go look at that. I think I've spent my angst properly, though. The local 103 union's financial support gave me an amazing childhood. Dad had the money to take us on vacation often. Health and dental paid for it. Everyone deserves this upbringing. I had a similar upbringing. Was not a rich kid by any stretch of the means, but I had two factory worker parents who were unionized, and I was able to go. We were reading through my journal the other day. My mom recently just sent me a box of some old stuff of mine that she kept. We were reading through a journal the other day, and it was in that journal I was talking about vacations that I got to take. It was like my family went to the beach, and we rode in my dad's Jeep on the dunes, and it was fun. You know how many kids never get to take a fucking vacation in their lives because their parents can't afford it? Because their parents are working 2-3 jobs or unemployed and can't swing an actual fucking getaway. And it wasn't like some big fucking giant spicy getaway. I didn't get to party like a rock star when I was a kid or anything. But I got to go to the beach. I got to go camping with my parents. I got to go to Disneyland once in a while. I got to go see a Michael Jackson concert. This was my parents being able to not only raise 2 children, own 6-7 acres of land with a house they designed on it, but to take those children on vacations, to take time off of work, to get away a little bit, and to do cool things like see Michael Jackson in concert. I had that childhood. That was my childhood. And if I were to just start talking about that, you would probably think nowadays, rich kid. Wasn't a rich kid. My dad was a straight out grease monkey mechanic. My mom was what they call a gopher. Did everything. Moved around that factory, swept floors, hand selected, hand stacked, drove the fucking front end loader, drove the fucking forklift. She did everything in that factory. It was a normal ass fucking job. She walked in off the street with no diploma. My mom dropped out of high school when she was 15 years old to marry my dad. She never finished high school and was able to make that kind of a living. Juxtapose that with somebody who's got 2 family members that work a factory level job now, and you tell me they're living like that. They aren't. And that's the power that's been taken from you. Slowly but surely, that life has been removed from the table when it comes to you and yours.
When I worked at Amazon, like, it was in Indiana, so it was a lot cheaper than here, but someone was balking at $800 a month mortgage.
Of course. You can't make it on what you're being paid now. Wages have remained flat and stagnant for too long for you to be able to make it. And within my lifetime, that was different. Not for everybody, but for a large group of people. The old unions still had a lot of their power. Workers still had the right to collectively bargain at their factories, and they still had the backing of national organizations. And the power of that was that my parents, one of them a high school dropout, one of them with nothing but a fucking high school diploma in his pocket, were able to make enough money to live like rich people live now. Who let it get so bad? Everybody. Everybody. Unions got comfy, unions got complacent, unions stopped being good at making the argument to new hires for why they should buy into the union. It started to be hard to make that argument because the union was funneling more and more money to the top, and people coming into work, they were lost. New hires were lost. The union got lazy, the union got complacent, and the union allowed itself to turn into a money funneling scheme. And people stopped buying into it. And then the union movement got a seedy reputation as just a way to get in between a worker and his wages. And now we stand where we stand now, where you go get a job and you take what they give you. And if it's not enough to make your fucking nut, oh well. Unions got very corrupt. How do we prevent that again? I hate to fucking just throw a buzzword at you, but solidarity. That's what failed in the union movement, ultimately. Yes, it was picked apart by legislation. Yes, union and the power of collective labor was slowly but surely weakened, really starting just before and leading into the Reagan administration. But really what failed was solidarity. When that shit happened, we should have shut it down. When the federal government started worming its way into your collective bargaining rights, the national labor movement should have shut this bitch down, but we were too comfy. So we just let it happen. Over the course of a couple of generations, the union movement was dismantled and turned into this seedy mafioso thing and a big scam to rip off the fucking workers. And that's where we stand now with most people. You talk the word union to most people, and that's immediately the thought that pops into their head is, oh, Jimmy Hoffa. Oh, the mafia. Oh, yeah, big money-making scheme where people were given big chunks of their paycheck to this organization that was just pocketing it all. I mean, the Teamsters Union used to be rough. The old school fucking 1930s, 1940s Teamsters unions were fucking rough and tumble. They still are, to be honest with you. I wouldn't fuck with a Teamster. But I'm telling you, man, scab truck pulls up in front of your fucking place. Not only is that scab truck not coming into the factory, it's likely to get tipped over on its fucking side. Now you got to bring another truck up to pick up your scab truck. Because that shit just got flipped. That shit got raided. That shit got taken over. It just wasn't happening. Yeah. The labor movement in this country is the reason why children are no longer working in factories. The labor movement in this country is how you got the 40-hour work week. It used to be closer to 80 or 90-hour work week standard.
Time and a half.
Yep.
Overtime.
Time and a half, overtime, vacation time. If you have anything like that in your job, it's because of the labor movement. Because before the labor movement happened, none of that shit existed. Period. And here we are again, at a time in American history where the worker is downtrodden, where he's expected to starve in the streets, where he's expected to stay home and feed his or her family with nothing. I'm in a union. Teamsters will unload their trucks for us. Scabs don't even leave the cab. Well, why would they? See, think about this. And you cannot, here's the thing. The hatred of scabs in the union, you have to understand the mindset of a scab. A scab is somebody that doesn't appreciate their work because they never collectively bargained for it. They got it. They're going to do whatever it is, blah, 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 blah. Union workers are better workers. This is a strange fucking thing to wrap your head around, but I want you to think about this. When people have collective bargaining rights over their work and they feel they're being treated fairly at their job, they go that extra mile. They take pride. My mom will talk to this day. You've heard her do it to this day about how proud she was able to get this run of a bottle done, or how proud she was that her company, while she was there, made a lot of money, or how proud she was that that factory never went down, never stopped producing. You see what I mean? When you have the ability to collectively bargaining, suddenly that job becomes a reflection of you. You're a part of that. And the company's success is your success. You share in it. You have every impetus to go that extra mile. You have every impetus to work your fucking ass off, because you know what? That company goes under because you're fucking off. You lose your job. You lose your benefits. You have a seat at the table when you're a union worker. That's why union workers are better workers. Go figure. Think about the loyalty that it inspires in a union worker when they show up to their work and they know what to expect and they're treated with the respect that they deserve given their seniority at the place that they work, and they know they have a say in their compensation package, and they know that their fucking compensation is tied to the success of that company. What do you think happens? What do you think happens when this is no longer just a shit place that you've got to go and waste your life away on to get a paycheck? How much loyalty and hard work do you think it inspires? I know how much it inspires. I've worked at places like that. I took my union work ethic into Starbucks and worked there for 10 years. You know how many people I saw come and go? Didn't give a fuck about that job? What reason did they have to? Starbucks closes down. What does it mean to them? Hit the streets and get hired at a McDonald's? What do they care? No, we don't have to stop the flood of cheap labor from the rest of the world. We have to stop the flood of exporting American jobs, within American companies, to the third world. When it comes to immigrants, we need to naturalize them and make them part of the workforce. This is something that fucking leftists and unionized people need to get through their fucking heads. I talked about it last night, and I'm going to talk about it again. Immigrants are your friend. They are your brothers, and they are your comrades. You want proof of that? Look into the fucking unionization and labor movement that happened in the Central Valley of California, where I fucking grew up, led by Cesar Chavez. These are your people. Human beings have a right to collectively bargain for their labor, no matter what country they're fucking from.
But the only barrier is communication. That's not the biggest hurdle ever.
It's not a hurdle at all.
It's like some people might have become scabs unwittingly because no one fucking talked to them, and now they're all a problem.
Of course, Paul, but they shouldn't have to travel hundreds of miles from their home because they're being exploited by these giant empires, US, China, Russia, etc. That was the point of the labor movement amongst farm workers and factory workers and migrant workers here in the Central Valley. That was part of it. So what do you want? Stop demonizing the other. Stop demonizing somebody because they came here to work. Put them to work and make them a union worker and watch the power grow. Just stop it. My grandfather was from a Mexican immigrant family in St. Louis and was a union worker at a steel factory for many years. Dude, where I fucking grew up, so many of the families that were part of the union that my dad ran for many years were first generation immigrants, second generation immigrant families, most of them Hispanic, from South America, Central America, and Mexico. And you know they stood the line just like everybody else? Isn't it strange? And let me tell you something, and I don't mean to talk about people like this is a cultural difference, not a racial difference. Let me tell you something about Hispanic people. They have a work ethic that would make most of us shit our pants with fucking shame. There is a built-in work ethic to the migrant worker that I've never seen in another group of people in my life. And you're going to tell me you don't want to marshal that? These people bust their fucking humps. You have no clue. If you've never spent a day picking fucking fruit or gathering almonds being shaken down out of the tree or cutting cotton, you have no clue what I'm talking about. These people bust their fucking humps for pennies. They'll only be scabs if we don't bring them under our umbrella. They'll only be scabs if we look at them as some sort of invading force and not part of us. That's how scabs are born. Scabs are born when there are industries where people aren't covered by a union. They get fired, and all of a sudden there's a guy or a woman out there desperate for work and willing to take whatever they can, willing to cross a strike line because they got to feed their family. Bring those people in. We need those immigrants. Every last goddamn motherfucking one of them.
That's what the dues are for. Feed people while the shop's closed.
My Mexican friend raked blueberries as a young kid with her migrant mother to make ends meet. That story, they're pregnant, yeah. That story is repeated over and over and over again in every migrant community that I've ever had the pleasure to speak to. I grew up in one. And that story from first, second generation immigrants is always the same. My grandfather came here and worked himself to death and made enough money to get us here and give us a place here. And their work ethic in the second generation is driven by that work ethic from the first. It's a beautiful fucking thing. I'm telling you guys, dude. To exclude these people would be folly. Folly. They're exactly what we need.
You get them to join the union by feeding their kids and educating them.
And cleaning up their fucking neighborhoods, yes. Oh, God damn it. These fucking gloves just don't want to work sometimes. They're supposed to, but they don't. All right. Cold hand it is. I know you're against electoral politics, but I think a political party made up of trade unions could be a powerful force. That's what the Labour Party was when it started in the UK. I'm not against that, but we got to have the labor movement first. It has to go national labor movement and then party. I've actually talked about this before. This is part of my don't vote plan, right? Allow the DNC, withered and corrupt as it is, to fall off the vine and become absorbed to where, it's basically indistinguishable from the fucking right. And fill the vacuum with a new Labor Party. But we have to have that labor movement backing it. You see what I mean? That power is what allows us to do something as ostentatious as establishing a new party, a people's party in this country. And then we've got a seat at the table. This is a path to it. But I want to let you guys know that a lot of what's coming out of my mouth right now is likely just pipe dreams. Because it's going to take more than me talking about it to make this happen. It's going to take people with money getting behind this fucking idea. It's going to take people with more influence and more reach than I got getting behind this idea. Picking good, rational leaders for this fucking movement, establishing it and starting it. That has to happen. I can't do it. I can't make it happen. But I want to hear more leftists talking solutions like this, because these solutions within the electoral process are folly. Folly. I've seen the folly of them for 40 fucking years in my life. Okay? I've watched the working class get fucked over and out. Do you think it's a fucking coincidence that I lived the childhood that I did, that my parents made what they did and were able to attain what they were able to attain with no high school education on one end, working normal blue-collar factory jobs, and now you can't do that? Do you think that that's just happenstance? This is the power that's been extracted from the working person in this fucking country. You remember earlier when we were talking about money being power, when we were talking about how Robinhood shut itself down for maintenance today, and there's going to be all these regulations stopping this trading and a big bailout for these companies? Money is power. The more you have of it, the more access you have to that capital, the more of a voice you have at the fucking table. And the only way you're going to get it is to bargain for your rights.
Like it's tied to so much other shit, like divorce. So much of that is influenced by like money strife.
I know my parents' marriage, I won't say that it was only money strife that broke them up, but I don't think it's any fucking coincidence that their divorce happened right after they declared bankruptcy.
And that was from debt.
That was from debt incurred, from not being able to work, and from the weakening of their protections at their work. They were not able to cover their bills anymore because their fucking sick pay was not enough to cover it, and the bills stacked too fucking high. They needed rehabilitative therapy, months of it, and it wasn't all covered. And what they were left with at the end was a giant fucking balloon bill that they couldn't pay. And really, if you look back on it,
That's healthcare.
my family was one of the first victims of the healthcare crisis because they had healthcare, it just wasn't sufficient healthcare. They were involved in a car accident that crumpled their bodies. They needed to be rebuilt. And the bill that came out at the end of that after healthcare paid whatever it paid was staggering. My parents sued the federal government because it was a federal fucking army vehicle that caused the accident that almost killed us all. They were paid out a paltry sum. It wasn't enough to cover their fucking debt. And so they went into bankruptcy, and then their marriage fell apart, and then my life changed.
And then your dad ended up going corporate because the union let him down.
Yeah. My dad, almost immediately after all that happened, left his job as the head mechanic at his work and joined the corporate end of things, left his union and joined the enemy, basically. The collapse happened, and that's what happened in my family because of it. The collapse of labor solidarity happened while I was a child. And that is how my family suffered because of it. That's how my life changed from one thing to another. And if you think you're ever going to convince me that the answer to this is not the reestablishment of a strong labor presence in this country, you're never going to, because I've lived it. I've lived the experience of it. I just wish I could show it to you better than I'm able to with my, my prose. You may have adopted the unionization tact, but I was born in it. I was succored by it. You're an entertaining bloviator, Paul. Well, thank you. That's what I'm trying to be for you. An entertaining bloviator.
You get another pack.
Yep. You need anything, baby? Coffee? Want to warm up on your coffee?
No.
Sure.
I just finished it, so I'm okay for now.
Hello, Dave. Are you cold? Are you too cold? You wanna go inside? Oh. Oh. Go on in. Ugh.
I'm just sad and confused because you can't play fetch.
Too wet. Too nasty out there today to play no fetch. Unfortunate, but true. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know, man. Tipping is a corporate invention to save the company money, of course. It's a way to transfer the burden of having to pay your worker a living wage onto your customers in the form of psychological manipulation by making you feel bad, as well you should, for the waiters and waitresses that are bussing your tables and filling your drinks and shit, because they only get paid X amount of dollars, and if you don't tip them, they don't take home enough money to feed their fucking kids. It's all just manipulative. It's the powers that be that are sitting on fat stacks of fucking Scrooge McDuck money bin status cash that should be shelling out to make sure that those fucking people make a living wage.
Like with restaurants, the price really wouldn't go up that much if you take out the food waste aspect of it.
Absolutely. There are ways for these companies to work more efficiently and to pass a very slim amount of the cost of raising the minimum wage of their workers onto the consumer in a way that 99% of consumers won't even fucking notice. A 20-cent increase on a hamburger is something only like old people on a shoestring budget that clip coupons is gonna fucking notice, and they're gonna be dead in a couple years anyway. Most people will go in and just get their McDonald's like nothing ever happened, and the difference is your hamburger costs 15 cents more, and everybody in that McDonald's is making at least something close to a living wage. But somehow this is just impossible and catastrophic. I don't see the catastrophe, and I don't see the impossibility.
That's part of union solidarity is get the consumers on board.
But my small businesses, this is a good point. So large companies like McDonald's, Target, Amazon, there's no excuse for them not to be able to pay their workers $15 or even $20 an hour. Their profit margins would be fully intact, and they'd still be raking in billions and billions of dollars in revenue, most of them tax-free revenue. So, man, that was a 5-engine train, and every last one of those fucking diesel electrics was screaming. Did you hear it? Yeah, a lot of UPS cars. Dude, that was a engine train, and every one of those engines was screaming.
Trying to get those packages out.
That's a big fucking train right there.
Yes, everyone.
That's the downside to the train, is that I love them so much that I get distracted in the middle of a rant sometimes. And now it's like a book, and I forgot to put the bookmark in, and I've lost my place. I don't know what I was ranting about.
Small businesses paying for
Right, small businesses. Okay. That is an absolutely 100% fucking legitimate concern. There are small businesses out there that might be crushed out of business by having to pay their workers an insane amount of money as a one giant payment, right? But here's the thing. You know how like Melvin Capital or whatever is going to get this giant bailout, right? What if we took the money that went to those kinds of giant billion-dollar bailouts for these speculative companies that add zero value to the American economy, and instead appropriated some of that money to subsidies for small businesses to make their payroll in the interim, and for low-interest loans or zero-interest federally backed loans for average people to start new businesses, to replace any vacuum for businesses that do close as a result of this. And those businesses can be built with a profit margin in mind that takes into account that they have to pay their fucking people that work for them a living wage. They can't just throw 50 cents at their fucking workers as they walk out the door after a 12-hour shift anymore. If your business is built properly, you should be able to pay your fucking workers. If it means you downscale a little bit, great. You downscale a little bit. See, this idea that it would be catastrophic is predicated on the idea that all we do is immediately enforce some fucking stupid legislation where everybody suddenly has to start paying everybody $15. That legislation needs to include subsidies for small businesses to make payroll in the interim position so that they can recalibrate their fucking business and pay their fucking fair share. And like I said, zero low-interest loans for small business owners so that they can fucking take out loans and prove their business and pay their people. Period.
So I look at these PPP loans. They're able to do it.
So why am I hearing leftists going like, this is impossible? I'm not a fucking big brain motherfucker. I'm not some big political mind. Why am I able to think of a way that we could tie different parts of legislation to this minimum wage increase that would insulate small business? Why am I able to think of a way? Where's the money for that come from, Paul Zigo? The military budget. Tax breaks for the fucking top 10% of business owners. Come on. This country is flush, rich, overflowing with money that's just sitting in bank accounts.
Like, people will talk about the debt, but like our debt to GDP ratio is way lower than a bunch of other countries.
Absolutely.
Like, in terms of debt, we're not that bad. We just have a big economy, so it's a big debt.
And it's just like, push for this. Demand that your politicians do this. When they go like, we can't just raise the minimum wage, it would be devastating for small businesses. Then give subsidies to those small businesses. They did it during the pandemic. The payday loan thing, or whatever, the PPE loans that a lot of companies took out. Payroll protection loans. Do it! What's this like? Oh, it's impossible. Now, I've heard it twice out of these status quo fucking leftists. Out of these Biden voter people. Force the vote, M4A, impossible. Never pass, so no, don't bother doing it. Raising the minimum wage so that people get help now. Oh, fucking impossible. Be disaster. Disaster. Has to happen over the next 5 years. We ain't got 5 years. People are starving. You guys heard the numbers we covered a couple of weeks ago about the number of people that have gone homeless in the last 6 months? I don't remember what the number was, but it was staggering.
The amount of people that
People
are
don't have...
out of work and underemployed for the past 6 months. Like,
People don't got 5 years to sit and wait for a fucking somewhat living wage increase. So let's fucking be creative as leftists and figure out a way to reappropriate some of the infinite money that's wasted and support people so that small businesses don't continue to croak. How is the word impossible even in the lexicon of a fucking leftist? I mean impossible. If we were sitting in some country that barely had a GDP, yeah, maybe it would be impossible to talk about some of these social programs. Every other goddamn Western country has this shit. What's the excuse? Why is it impossible in this fucking country?
Like if Australia can pay 19, way smaller country, way smaller output.
I looked at a list the other day that was staggering. Other Western countries and how much they've been paying their citizens a month during the lockdown. Some of them were upwards of $2,000-$3,000 US a month. American people have gotten what? A $1,200 stimulus at the beginning and a $600 stimulus just now. We've been asked to live the last 8-9 months on $2,000.
1,800 a month, or 1,800 period is just like 1 month of a mortgage for some people.
Unreal. Unreal and super unreal to hear leftists using the word impossible and not being fucking smart enough to think about tying other pieces to this fucking legislation. Tying protections for businesses to this legislation. Tying subsidies for small businesses to this legislation.
And anyone saying that like you can't have these opinions because you're doing okay, it's like you have empathy. That's how.
Oh my God, dude, whatever. You criticize society and yet you live and benefit from it. Shut up.
Just because you're personally comfortable doesn't mean that you don't give a shit about people that are uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm not perfectly comfortable. The rug could be pulled out from under my income just as fast as it could yours. So, let's be real here.
You don't make enough money to like pay everyone in your family to try to live.
Yeah. If I had fuck you money, I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting. You care about other people because eventually that person will be you. That person has been me. I lived hand to mouth for 20 years as an adult. I know what it means to work a job where you're underpaid and expected to make fucking bills and expected to figure out how to go to the doctor and when. I've done it. That is me. I have been that. And very well could be that again. And I'll never forget being that. And I know that a lot of people are in that fucking boat right now. I'm fortunate to not be. I'm not living hand to mouth right now. Could be tomorrow. Could be next week.
All it takes is one big medical bill and then you're fucking white.
All it takes is a medical bill or Patreon deciding to close us down or YouTube,
Like
There's shit that's outside of my fucking hands.
Like how many patrons, like especially during the holidays, like they just couldn't afford it. And then you want them to be able to come back. Like, oh.
You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. It's also fragile and it could crumble at any second. It's terrifying, the life we've made for ourselves as humans. Kinda is, yeah. I've had to sell my entire record collection that I spent 50 years collecting. I know that don't mean shit to some folks. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. I understand. It sucks. There's no excuse. There's no excuse in this country for people to be so poor and so desperate.
Like, a death can wipe people out financially too. Like funerals can be
Oh, yeah.
20 grand. Easily.
Think about how many families are facing that. 80,000 people died this month. 80,000. people in this country.
And I think it's now it's 1 in 700 people are dead.
Yeah. That number just keeps getting more and more frightening. A couple of weeks ago, I quoted you guys a number that I got from Zonster that 1 in 1,000 people that were alive on January 1st, 2020 are now dead of COVID. That number is now closer to 170, like 1 in 700, 750.
People aren't stopping dying from other shit. We're still dying from other shit, so it's excess death.
And you know what the biggest concern our country has right now? Not the 80,000 lives that were lost last month and the possible 90, 100,000 lives we're going to lose this month, this upcoming month. It's Wall Street stocks and whether or not their billionaire buddies have to take a bath on a risky bet they made. The entire U.S. government, all the regulatory agencies, all of the agencies put in place to protect you are focused on that today.
You need more coffee?
Sure, I'll take a little skosh. Do you feel the greed we see in America is cultural or more true to humans overall? I think that human beings have a very ancient impulse to hoard resources. It makes sense that we would, being a species that for most of our history were nomadic hunter-gatherers. Hoarding resources meant your continued survival, so we have that impulse. That impulse in human beings needs to be checked when it comes to something as complex as a market. And complex as a government, clearly. When will enough be enough? That's a good question. It's a good question with an unfortunate and simple answer. Enough will be enough when it's too late. In a lot of ways, yes, it is already too late. People are obsessed with the barcode plastic sticker thing that's on the bottom of this.
It's gone through many a wash, and it's still there, so it ain't worth peeling off.
Yeah, what's the point? Just leave it. Every time I take a sip, some dumbass has to mention it. Hey, you got a sticker on the bottom of your mug there. It's like, where's your brain, bro? We're sitting here talking about the world collapsing. talking about interesting fucking political ideas and ways to mobilize people, and you're like, Paul have sticker on bottom of cup. Paul have sticker on bottom of cup. Paul have sticker on bottom of cup. Salt, you goddamn right. You goddamn right.
Fucking
What are you doing with your time? You're sitting here watching a dude talking about a bunch of shit, and your fucking contribution is, you have sticker. I don't even know what to do with people like you. I guess I'm happy you're out there fucking working on it. Like, you're happy, you're out there, you're listening, maybe something will soak in other than sticker, Brett Keane, G-Man. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with you fucking people. Banning them doesn't work. You know the ban system here is just a joke. I mean, it might improve the quality of a stream to stream, but overall, you know I never ban people permanently here. It's a joke. There's no point. They just make a million fucking accounts so they can come back and go, sticker on cup.
Dude, that's a solid sticker. It's been washed like 20 times.
It's a good ass sticker, man. When enough is when Jack can't get his McDonald's 3 times a day and falls prey to fascism, blaming minorities and not the wealthy. That's already happening. But yeah, no. Enough will be enough when the grocery stores start being open and only on limited days, and you got to wait in line for your turn to shop because they're rationing food. That's when people will go like, we got to do something, man. And it'll be that it's beyond too late at that goddamn point. At this point, we've got the opportunity. If not, you know, I know it's a fucking far cry, but at least at this point, I genuinely believe we have the opportunity within a limited window of time to seize that.
Do you think people have gone through their toilet paper stockpiles yet?
Some people know. I know some of these dumb fucks went and bought like whole U-Haul trailers filled with toilet paper, and they're probably still wiping their asses with it. Buy your sticker something nice? My sticker on the bottom. Okay, I will.
Get another mug with another fucking sticker. Everyone got sticker mugs. That's something you gotta do. You gotta make DFF mugs.
Yeah. We should get a mug. I think we've had a mug before, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be mistaken. I don't think people really want mugs. I mean, maybe throwing a DFF thing on a mug, maybe somebody would buy it, but...
You got tote bags.
And we got, well, like, that's what people like, though. They like clothes and shit now. DFF hoodies, DFF shirts, DFF plushies and shit. Them's are the future. A DFF beanie. I would love one too, honestly. I don't know how easy it is to get a DFF beanie made, but man, that would be dope. Because I'd have that. It has to be the right kind of beanie, though.
Yeah. You like the ones with the lip?
Yeah, because they tend to be looser. Like, I like a looser beanie. Some beanies are like a fucking tight-ass sock for your head, and I don't like them type of beanies. I like a fucking comfier, like, warmer, looser beanie situation. If we raise the minimum wage, the corporations would take the hit and the loss. There's no reason to increase the minimum wage if they're just going to increase prices again. I mean, there are price controls and market manipulations done by the government all the time. Why can't they put price controls on inflation?
Like, you know how much milk would be without subsidies?
Right.
Like 50 cents or something.
Produce is the same way. So you got to understand, like, we have, and in the past we do. When it comes to food and food production and food pricing, there's already mass market manipulation that happens, and the federal government orders it. Vast swaths of farmland the food in them is allowed to go fucking rot on the ground to keep the price at a certain level. So why not dip into some of that?
Yeah, that would make the price of a hamburger go down if they didn't have beef subsidies.
Yeah. Minimum wage increase is a Band-Aid. If wages matched inflation, we wouldn't need UBI. I totally agree. And people are arguing that the Band-Aid is impossible. Like, how do I join this new left? It's fucking unbelievable to me that people on the left are fucking making that goddamn argument. The Band-Aid is impossible. Well, fuck me, then we're dead. We're bleeding out. You telling me we can't even slap a fucking piece of gauze over the bullet wound anymore? It's just not the right time to slap a piece of gauze on the bullet wound. Fuck off then. Get out of here. Get out of the left. Get out of my face. Get out of my timeline. Get out of my head. Get out of my stream. A bunch of people are saying that the $15 minimum wage. TJ's been all over Twitter talking about how we can't do it. We got to do this 5-year rollout plan, which is absurd. Not the time, not the time, not the time, not the time, not the time to do it. Can't even slap a Band-Aid on the bullet wound right now. Can't even come up with legislation that's clever enough that it covers small businesses and provides a fucking parachute for them. Access to cheap money for them if they need it. Nope. Impossible. Impossible. Can't do it. Catastrophic.
Why would landlords increase their prices? Like, not paid minimum wage.
Just like we've got market control. We've got a goddamn government that intercedes in the market all the time. We can do price controls, we can do rent controls, and all these motherfuckers are still gonna be rich. Newsflash, all these CEOs and billionaires and big landowners and big landlords are still gonna be rich. Oy vey. Order 66 on anybody mentioning the name of fucking Vosh in this channel when I'm having a discussion. I'm so sick of you fucking idiots that can't have a political discussion without invoking your fucking favorite little talking head. Order 66 on anybody that mentions Vosh if I don't. I get to bring up Vosh. If I want to talk about something Vosh has said or done, I will bring it up. Standing order 66 on that motherfucker, and I'm adding his name to the banned words on this fucking channel. Get smoked. Sick of you fucks. Little flying monkeys that can't fucking have a talk without Vosh, daddy. Vosh said, Vosh, oh, Paul salty about Vosh. I haven't thought about Vosh since the last time one of you dumb fucks brought him up. Get out and stay out. Keep his name out of your mouth. You're allowed to talk about him if I talk about him. Here on out. You want to hear about what Vosh is doing? Go watch his goddamn fucking stream. I liked the conversation that I had with Vosh, but overall I see it as a fucking mistake. Because you people fucking suddenly leaked into this goddamn community. The fuck out. No, it ain't positive vibes only, Cynic. Plenty of negative vibes to go around in this shit. I'm just sick to fucking death of looking at my chat and seeing that dumb motherfucking keloid cyst motherfucker's name. Sick of his fucking milquetoast opinions, and I'm sick of his fucking brainless, zombie-like followers. Run around slack jawed, just repeating his fucking name. Vaughn, what do you guys think about Vaughn? Empty brained, fucking hollow headed motherfuckers. Get out! Well, hopefully my position is clarified now. If it hadn't been in the past. Now people know where I stand.
It's like no one's bringing up, like if it was a diversity of people brought up, like it's not like people are like, oh, Kyle, Tim Pool, this, that. It's like.
If it was every once in a while,
Yeah.
where somebody was like, hey, Paul, I was watching a VOD, like this is the type of comment that I wouldn't mind. Hey, Paul, I was watching a Voss stream the other day, and he said that we should do X, Y, and Z. What do you think about that idea? Well, here's what I think about that idea. I got no problem with that. It's the constant, like, invocation of his name when I'm talking about the simpy, cucked left. People think that I'm talking about him. He's a Twitter dude. I'm talking about the left as a whole. The Swiss cheese left that is so weak that it's locked in a cycle of elect fucking center-right corporatist, go to sleep for 48 years. Yeah.
Bernie have mittens.
Anything with a political tinge. I don't watch the dude, guys. I don't watch his shit. I don't know what he's talking about. I tuned out long ago. I got sick of his perspective. I don't think he's leading people towards any kind of fucking positive change. He's not useful to me. He's not somebody I want to fill my head with. He's not important in my life. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you not to watch him. I just don't know what he's talking about, and your constant invocation of him is over today. At least here. Here I am Lord and Master. And if I have my way, I'll never see his fucking name typed in my shit again. I mean, you ain't gonna call him shit because your dumb ass is fucking gone. You didn't get the net? What did I just say, dumb fuck? Were you that kid in class that had to be sent to detention all the time because you fucking couldn't pay attention? Couldn't follow the simple instructions and shit? Guess what? You're still in class when you're watching one of my streams. Dumb fuck, man. What do you gotta do to some people? Are these leather gloves? No, they're pleather. Some kind of like fake leather and knit combo.
Like leather can't be like touchscreen.
Yeah, you can't. Leather doesn't work. It's got that special whatever electrically. You can see it on this finger and on your thumb. See how that has a seam, but these other fingers don't? That's because this shit that's on the very tip of this finger is that electrically conductive polymer shit that lets your fucking finger work. It doesn't work great on my phone, but I'm able to do shit with it. So that's why that finger has a seam there and this finger doesn't. That's why your thumb has a seam there so that you can scroll with these two fingers and you can do pinch actions and shit. They make a lot of gloves like this. Amelia's got a pair. I don't know if she's wearing them right now, but I got her a pair of, they're like more knit gloves, and they've got the same material on the tips of the fingers. I needed them coming here if I was going to sit out here and do this with you guys, because it's fucking insane. My hands just get frozen, and they have to be stuck in my pockets or else.
You know, when you were done last night, like your whole outer layer was icicles.
Yeah. But I didn't feel cold. That's the thing, is like eventually my body reaches this like homeostasis where it's like I feel okay. Like I'm sure I'm cold all over like that again, but that's part of like acclimating myself to this level of cold. I'm bundled enough to where I'm not like shivering. I don't feel like I'm losing tons of heat or whatever. You get dry skin on your hands. Mine are terrible when it's cold. I know Amelia does.
Yeah, I mean, it's been better lately.
But you've had lotion to put on it and shit. I get chapped hands and shit. And I really should take better care of that with lotion, but I just don't. I'm used to it. My hands have kind of always been fucked up. But it wouldn't be too hard for me to throw some fucking lotion on once or twice a day, so I should probably try and do that. It would probably help. But it's not horrible. Like, I don't get, like, super dry, flaky, chapped hands. They just get dry, and I have a tendency towards, like, hangnails and shit. I also have a tendency to pick at those hangnails and shit as a kind of a subconscious stress reaction or whatever, and that makes them worse. I'll show you guys. Like, you can look at my thumb and how tore up it is right now. This is all shit that I did to myself without thinking about it. I just sat and kind of like had a little hangnail and picked at it until it became that. That's one of my little fucking weird stress responses and shit that I've had forever. I'm not trying to be annoying with it. Are you thinking about growing some herb at home now that AZ has legal rec weed?
People are so confused.
I love it. They're still super confused.
Someone brought up Wyoming earlier.
Wyoming, yeah. I live in Wyoming. I talked with a dude on Reddit earlier this week who was talking about, like, I don't buy this reason that Paul left Louisiana, because why would he leave Louisiana to go to fucking Missouri? How's that an upgrade? And I was like, bruh, you really think I'm in Missouri? He's like, I guess not.
Fucking Jason.
But that's what I
out
heard.
here in Wyoming. It's like, don't take TJ at his fucking word.
But that was the point. Like, I honestly didn't think it was going to go on this long. I thought people would get over the joke and just stop caring by now. But it's fucking hilarious. Dude, I live all over the continental United States.
Yeah.
Within the fan base. Like, there are people guessing California, Montana, Washington State, Oregon. I saw a person go like, Paul's 100% in Colorado. The types of bird, like I saw a dude make a post that, like, the types of birds that are around Paul, that's Colorado. How cold he always talks about it being, Colorado, dude. Legal weed, Colorado. He's in Colorado, dude. Paul's talked about Colorado. TJ has talked about wanting to move to Colorado. It totally makes sense. It's ridiculous. He's in Colorado. I'm just like, I am? Cool. I teleport. I'm in every state. The bunker moves around. That's the key. Paul's in Hawaii. Paul's in Arizona. Like, if I'd made this move 10 years ago, as soon as you guys saw I had access to legal weed, you'd know where I was. They're like, well, like 10 years ago, there were 2 states, you know? Like, but now there's 30 states that have some form of legal marijuana, and 15, I think, that have legal recreational. So it's like, narrow it down, man. Howl's Moving Castle, yeah.
My toes are froze.
Yeah, dude, I'm just bundled enough.
Shoes on, I don't.
Oh, God. Well, would you come out here with no shoes on?
I'll go keep down or something.
Yeah, go warm up. Paul's on the moon. I heard Paul's on the moon. There was a theory that got passed around that I was still in Louisiana, that the whole I moved thing was just like a red herring to make people think I moved. I'm still in Louisiana. I love it. I love it. The 5D chess move. I'm a fourth dimensional being now. I exist everywhere. I'm with you right now. To me, you are all just a single point. I can see your entire lives and all the timeline and all the time that exists within them as one thing. I am from the fourth dimension. I see you. I see you. Watch this. I'm about to tap you all on the shoulder. Tell me you don't feel it. Don't lie. Get ready. Close your eyes. Everybody watching right now, close your eyes. I'm about to tap you on the shoulder. Tell me you don't feel it. You ready? Close your eyes. Deep breath in through the nose. Tell me you didn't feel a little tingle. Tell me you didn't feel a little something. Told you. Told you. Think I'm lying? Think I made it up? You got the tingles, didn't you? Yeah? Whew. Please, wind, stop. Please, wind, stop. Cloud, disappear. Cloud, disappear. Cloud, disappear. Wind, disappear. Is that how it works? Cloud, disappear. Cloud, disappear. Wind, disappear. Wind, disappear. I just had a vasectomy. Good for you, buddy. Congratulations to the I Can Fuck Raw Club. Whatever it takes to make me better, Doc. Yeah. Cloud, disappear. Wind, disappear. Sun, appear. Frog Balls, Arkansas. You nailed me. Somebody finally guessed. All right, guys, I'm in Frog Balls. Paul, what resources did you use to find your current rural place? Craigslist, rental websites, etc., all that shit. When I found out the place that I wanted to move to, I paid a real estate agent to help me find rentals in the area. That didn't actually end up bearing fruit, though. What ended up bearing fruit was me applying for a bunch of different places and finding one place that I was able to get on the phone with the owner and talk with them and kind of allay their fears that I had financial problems or whatever the fuck. and use my charming personality and my genuine nature to win them over. That's what got me the fucking place, honestly. It was tough. It was not easy to find a place that fit the bill for me. Like, I could have gotten an apartment like that anywhere in the United States, but the whole point was I wanted to find a little house to rent that had a little fucking plot of land that it was on, so I could have a place like this to sit. This was important to me. Finding that was not easy. I mean, property is only as valuable as your ability to defend that property against encroachment. And at a certain point, property is worth nothing. The whole idea of people owning plots of land is one that always made me kind of scratch my head. It's so transient and so easy. How did you explain DFF to your landlord? I kind of didn't. I mean, I told my landlord what I do for a living. I tried to explain it to them. I don't think they fully understood it. But what they did understand was me being able to show them my monthly income on bank statements and shit. And show them that I was, you know. And to let you know, I rented well below what I could afford to rent here. And I will always do that. I am not a person that likes a huge portion of their income to go to their place. And so that helped a lot. The fact that I made way more than enough money to cover the rent on this place, I think is what got me the place in the end, to be honest with you. So it's tough right now. It was really hard finding a fucking place. We applied at like 20 different places before we got any nibbles at all. I hear some places won't rent to you if you make too much. How does that even make sense? I think a lot of people are afraid that you're like subleasing, if that's the case. Like if you make too much and you're living below your means to a certain extent, they think, this person's planning on leasing this to somebody else and jacking the price up and making a profit on this. Nope. It's like, no. Whew. Okay, I can't sit out here anymore. It's too cold. I gotta go. Thanks for chilling. I'll see you next time. Bye.